Welcome to Week 14 fantasy football season. Never thought we'd make it here. It is playoff time for a lot of leagues, and it is the last week of the regular season for other leagues. Matt, what's your mix? Do you have mostly 3-week playoffs or mostly 2-week playoffs?
Mostly 3-week playoffs.
Please don't ever come that close to the camera ever again. Much better.
I'll lean back.
Fantastic.
But yeah, mostly 3-week playoffs. Just the one league where it's 2 weeks.
We're joined by Fred Penner this morning, Sunday morning, 11 a.m. The coffee is brewed. The Egos are in the toaster. It's time for Blue Duck. It is time for Blue Duck Fantasy Football pregame show, Week 14. Thanks for joining, Fred Penner. We all love you so much.
Great musician.
We have a lot to talk about on today's show. I don't think we're going to get to everything. Starting out with the inactives, one of the surprising ones to me was Leonard Fournette and Brandon Cooks this morning were set. We were going to talk about Ronald Jones, and we still will, but we just won't talk about him as much. Matt, what do you got for weather for us today?
Actually looks pretty good today. There is a chance of some rain in the Seahawks-Jets game, but it's going to be supposed to be pretty light if there is any. You're pretty well good to go. Possibly some wind issue tomorrow night with the Ravens and Ravens and Browns, but it's not going to be like overbearing. It's just going to have minor implications.
Good news if you have the running back for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, or the running backs for the Browns, Chubb or Hunt.
Yeah.
And also possibly good news for Dobbins. So let's get right into today's show. Starting off with Thursday Night Football. We did have Thursday Night Football this week. Cam Akers, top 20 rest of the season, Matt? Or is this going to be more of a split when Henderson's 100%?
No, it's Akers' backfield. I think we talked about this. I called this about 2 weeks ago for you. You weren't buying it. I hope you are now.
I'm more on it now, but I'm still not convinced. Top 20 probably just because of the lack of good options.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later as well. But
high, low 20s. You'll be around that.
All right. What about the Patriots? Are they done? No playoffs?
No playoffs. No, not for them. No. I don't think either of us had them in the playoffs.
What does this team lack?
An offense, really.
Wide receivers?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wide receivers are bad. Even the running backs aren't great.
I saw that Pro Football Focus had Damian Harris ranked as the number 1 running back.
Well.
Yeah, well, I don't know how Pro Football Focus does their rankings, but I know it's just garbage. So
yeah, that's not the best.
Let's talk about our favorite Patriots wide receiver, Nikhil Harry. Is it time to call him a bust, or is it just the system? Because they showed the stat on Thursday night that they haven't drafted a wide receiver in the last 10 years that has had any type of impact whatsoever. And only 2 are in the league. One is him, and the other one is Braxton Berrios, and he's barely in the league. So is it that their system doesn't work, or is it their scouting is terrible and they just whiffed with Nikhil Harry again?
I think Harry's a fine player. I think you have to give him I don't think Cam is the best thrower, best passer either. Maybe if they bring in somebody a little bit better next year, he can bounce back a bit. Corey Davis kind of had the same issue. He's busted out this year, but Harry's a decent talent. I think if he was put in a better situation, he'd be a lot better, like Packers or something.
So you're still buying him?
As a player, not in New England right now. I'm not starting him. Like, he's way out of starting range.
In dynasty leagues, is this somebody you'd be looking to acquire? And what would you be willing to pay for him? If you can get him for a third, are you doing it? Yes.
A third, probably, yeah.
A second, are you doing it?
Probably not at this point.
Not at this point. What if it's a late second? You're a good team.
Yeah. Probably not still.
You're not giving up a top 25 pick.
Sorry?
You're not giving up a top 25 pick for him.
No, his stock is so far down. There's no reason for the Harry owner to be asking for anything like that. All
right. So let's get into just a random question that I wrote down here. Benny Snell versus Adrian Peterson. Who do you like today, Matt?
I guess Peterson better matchup today. Both are going to be backups.
Okay. Good to know that you're on the Peterson train this week. We both blew the call last week on the NFC East with both the Giants and Washington football team winning in games we said they had both no chance winning. Does the NFC East deserve a little bit of credit now, or at least those two teams, not the rest of them?
A little bit. I mean, I think they're okay teams, but put those teams against Seattle and Baltimore, or Seattle and Pittsburgh 10 times, they're probably going to lose 8 of them anyway.
Fair enough. Let's get to the rankings fight. Number 1 on the list at quarterback. We do have a few of these. We have almost 20. Matt Ryan. I have him ranked 7th against the Chargers defense. Both you and Mr. Black, not a fan of Matt Ryan this week. Have him all the way down at 14, so could start him if you had to, but not an option you like. What is it that you hate about the man you're named after, Matt Ryan?
I don't know if I'm named after him. I'm probably older than him, but
all right, Matty Ice.
Anyway, he's lacking his best weapon in Julio Jones. That's big dagger for him. Ridley's still there, of course. He just hasn't been that great all year. Like, there's nothing really to like about him. So, I mean, he's startable if you need to, but there's about 13 better quarterback options out there this week.
Fair enough. I do like him. I do like the matchup. For me, that's what I was all about. So I actually have him stacked in a second DFS that I did with Ridley. So I do like that situation today. We were going to talk about Ronald Jones and why you had him in the top 15, as well as Mr. Black, and I didn't understand that. Were you aware that Leonard Fournette might miss? Or
no, but Leonard Fournette has not been relevant for a few weeks. So
all right.
It was Rojo's backfield, and it's obviously been proven today.
Got a question from Instagram here. Hooper or Ertz at tight end? Hooper might not play, so you got to go Ertz, right?
Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of funny that we're reluctant to start Zach Ertz nowadays.
So I'm going to give you some numbers, and you can try to guess what they are. They're Ronald Jones' stats. 36, 36, 59, that's the highest one. 32, 24, 44.
I am going to say those are probably his percentage of being on the field.
Yes, 36 and 36 the last 2 weeks. He's been out-snapped by Fournette every week.
He out-touches him every week.
He out-touches him, but he's not getting that many touches either. So, I mean, you say it's his backfield.
It is.
I guess he can't pass block?
I guess that's the issue there because, I mean, Arians, again, it's coach speak. Arians said that he wants to make it his backfield again this week with giving him 20 touches.
I don't believe a word that comes out of Bruce Arians' mouth. No. He's the biggest liar in the league. Stroke My Eagle is back. Cootie's wrench thundered off the floor last week. Does he have a few more inches to roll? I think he does. I mean, he's the only show in town.
Yeah, there's like Jordan Akins and Cootie. Like, that's it, and Fells.
Yeah, did they activate
Hansen?
Holly Waring?
I don't know.
They really should get Kenny Stills back on the roster, eh?
Yeah. I'm surprised nobody picked him up, really.
To roll out this week. So I think he's a pretty high start now, top 25 for sure.
Yeah, with the news of Cooks being out, I move him into the top 30.
Wherever we had Cooks, he would be there, if not higher.
I don't know what higher, but yeah, we both had Cooks around. We had 28 and 29 on Cooks, so top 30.
Yeah, so I would happily start him over Chase Claypool. Corey Davis, Cole Beasley, he's in that range right now. Probably would like the other guys more, but
yeah, Cole Beasley, surprisingly, really good season. I saw some really crazy stats on him. I wish I would have saved it.
Big playoff matchup this week for Fred Penner. Do I go Kareem Hunt or Swift? Ooh.
I'm going Swift.
I think I'd go Swift as well, but I'm not sure how much he's going to play because he's dealing with an illness, right? Yeah. It's not an injury. So if he doesn't feel good, you could see him have like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire week where he does absolutely nothing.
But at least Swift practiced this week. Helaire didn't practice at all last week.
Okay. So. If you're confident in Swift, then I would go with Swift. He does have a very good matchup against the terrible Packers run defense, whereas Hunt has not been very good since he was shaken up several weeks ago. He's been absolutely just dominated by his running mate there, Nick Chubb. So he's not somebody you can start confidently. So Swift it is. Yeah. Chad Coleman, morning, boys. Morning, Chad. Ricky Steamboat is back. Let's get loose and colorful. Okay, We will. Let's talk Miles Sanders, a player who I have ranked outside the top 30 this week. You have him ranked inside the top 15. Explain to me why.
Volume play. Like, I think with Hurtson being in there, they're going to be trying to run the ball. I know the Saints have a really good run defense, but they're going to be trying to pound that rock and giving him short passes. Sanders is a good receiver. There's lots of upside there. Again, really tough matchup, but I just think Sanders is going to be a big feature.
Volume play.
Oh, a big feature back today for sure.
Over the last 2 weeks, combined 18 touches.
Yeah, I just think that they're going to be trying to keep it as easy for Hurts as they can today.
But do you think maybe they go with the running back who blocks better and maybe go with Jordan Howard?
I think I'm probably better than Jordan Howard at this point, so no, I don't think so.
I just can't see you having him that high. It hasn't been a volume play. It's a new quarterback, so there's a lot of uncertainty of what's going to happen this week. He's a player that I would rather stay away from this week, and I unfortunately don't have him in any leagues.
Yeah, I mean, I get the concern there, but I just think that they're going to be trying to protect Hurts as much as possible by using Miles Sanders, who is still one of their best offensive weapons.
He is their best offensive weapon. There's no question about that. Lenny Kravitz is here. He's asking, are you going to go my way? If your way is to a W, then yes. I almost ate it. Let's talk about Gio Bernard, Matt. You have him down at 31 going up against Dallas. We have him close to the top 20, myself and Mr. Black. I think this should be a competitive game, and he's gotten double-digit touches the last 7 weeks. 7. Why do you have him so low?
He just hasn't done anything with those said touches. Like, I mean, when's the last time he was productive in those games? Honestly.
I don't know. When was the last time the team was productive?
I know, but I'm just looking at, like, this is his rushing number since, the bye week. 30 yards, 18, 32, 30.
But you're not looking at the catches. 4, 4, 2, 2. That's an extra 40, 20 yards.
Yeah. He's a flex guy. He's not a starter in their 2 running back set for me. He's more of a flex.
I just really like the matchup, and I think with the quarterback situation that they have, I think they have to lean on him, and I think he can do a good job running against Dallas. And that's why I like him more than a lot of other players that I have on this list. J.D. McKissick, you are not buying. Neither is Mr. Black. You have him about the same spot. You have Gio, but we're talking PPR here. Mm-hmm. I have him in the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
He's had double-digit targets in 3 of his last 5 games. So just in receiving points for Tennessee in PPR, right? Not rushing at all.
Right.
He's had 17, 4, 4, 11, 15, and I rounded down. Now Gibson's out, so in PPR he should be a lock for double-digit catches, right? Since Alex Smith loves to dump it off.
I don't think so in this game, and that's why he's lower for me, because this doesn't seem like a game where they're going to be having to pass a lot. Like, it's not going to be they're going to get blown out. And I think that's
they don't have a good running back to run the ball. So what else are they going to do?
Peyton Barber, I guess.
Peyton Barber is basically Jordan Howard.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to try to get Barber more involved. Again, this is what I've heard, so believe it or not. They're supposed to be trying to get Barber involved in the offense a little bit more. Again, a decent flex because he does have the high upside of about at least 5 catches anyway. Probably more. But I don't know if you're buying a lot of yardage from him.
Don't need it. Just give me the catches.
Yeah, you're buying catches, and like I said, they're not going to be blown out that they need to be pass heavy. I could see it with the Steelers because Steelers have really good run defense too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a competitive game. San Francisco is a pretty competitive team, so I like the matchup. I think he's a start. I have no issues putting him in there. Is in PPR we're talking. Stroke my eagle. CMC's smallest wrench in the NFL this year. Will Davis, FUQ for GMs who were hoping for CMC this week. He should do pretty well. I have him in a league where I have Zeke, Carson, and Eckler, and Matt said I shouldn't start him over any of those guys. So he's behind them, but he should be pretty good. And hopefully he's good throughout the playoffs, and they don't bring CMC back at all, even though he wants to play. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know if CMC is the smallest wrench of the year, though. I mean, I think Michael Thomas maybe had it for a bit. It's an injury, though. It's kind of tough.
Thomas
Did come back for a week.
It's surprising that Thomas has been so much better with Taysom Hill than
Drew Brees.
Yeah, strange.
And he still hasn't been that great. Like for him, he's been below expectations.
Oh, for sure. But Mike Davis, he's been not as good as he had been. Like he started off really well, and then he kind of fell off a bit lately.
Yes, yeah. I think he's a little banged up. He's a little bit of older back, so they're spelling him a bit more than they used to. But he's still a decent, like, if you don't have another running back, he's a top 25 play. He's a top 20-ish play, I would say,
top 20-ish.
Every week. I like him a lot this week. I have him at 11. So I really like the matchup here against Denver. And I think he's a for sure start. So, yeah. Chad Coleman asks, Judy, Gesicki, Beasley, Kirk need 2 of 4 standard. Definitely Beasley.
Yeah, I was going to say Beasley's my one for sure.
With the news that Andy Isabella is out and Larry Fitzgerald coming back from COVID, does Kirk look like a more attractive start to you than Jerry Jeudy or Gesicki? Gesicki's been hot, but I don't really like using a tight end as a flex.
I'm really debating Gesicki there. So I think they're going to have to pass, too, to keep up with KC.
Yep. I think Jeudy is last.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think if you need the floor, you go Gesicki.
Yeah, fair enough.
So Kirk probably could have like that 70-yard touchdown catch for sure. That's
not a big volume play.
No, I think it's Gesicki is just the highest floor there.
Let's talk about someone's volume that was really strange last week, and that's Todd Gurley. He's basically a running back by committee there with all 3 backs. Matt, you clearly believe that's going to keep going, or at least going to some extent, as you have him at 28. I don't believe so. I think it was his first week back, and he will now be all the way back, and I'm in the top 15. The other guys just aren't that talented and don't scare me. He's the better back. It was also a tough matchup against the Saints last week. As we mentioned, the Saints are a tough run D. So maybe they're just like, listen, we're not going to just have him keep killing himself for no reason. We'll save him to see if he can maybe do something later. Your thoughts on the Falcons running back by committee, or is it going to be good?
Well, I think Gurley's going to be their top guy, but it's just one of those situations where he's just been bad even before he got hurt. Like his rushing totals, he's saved by touchdowns. So I mean, rushing totals, he's had one game over 100 yards rushing this whole year.
And it was against who?
Carolina. So it just hasn't been that good. He's very TD dependent. I just don't. His knees are starting to give out towards the end of the year. I mean, they might as well see what they got with the other guys. I think they're going to just play them a little bit more.
Okay,
he's only
fair
on a
enough.
one-year deal. They have no reason to sit him. But
Stroke My Eagle says Davis or McKissick. Matty Ice told me to start Harris on Thursday. That's some bad advice. I need someone to spread their seed all over their opponents this afternoon. He does say it's non-PPR, so I'm not opposed to the advice. It's going to be Mike Davis if it's non-PPR. McKissick isn't even in the conversation in non-PPR leagues. Like, he should be probably outside the top 40. He might manage 40 yards as a high. So if you're looking at 20 yards there, it's not really worth it. Which running back is going to insist that their opponent put their glasses on this afternoon? It's back. It's a question. Matt, take off your glasses and put them back on.
all right. There you go.
Much better. I like both running backs in that Tennessee-Jacksonville game.
Yeah, big time, yeah.
I think both of those guys.
I think Montgomery keeps rolling today.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. You know who's been actually really good is Wayne Gallman. Big week last week.
Yeah, he's been surprisingly really steady for sure. Melvin Gordon, I like his matchup today.
But will it be Lindsey?
That's the problem with that backfield.
What about James Conner? James Conner bounce back? That running game has been terrible.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's going to be Montgomery for me again. I think that was my answer last week for him too. But it worked out last week too. I can't tell if you're frozen or just being quiet.
I'm just being quiet. I'm trying to do something, and it's not working.
Perfect.
So that's unfortunate. I had a big plan. Bernard, Hunt, or Washington today, fellas, in flex.
That's got to be Deandre Washington, so that's a no. It's got to be Hunt, right?
Got to be Hunt, just because the other two guys just aren't that good. But Deandre is the man in Miami.
Yeah, but that's just a backfield I'm not taking a part of. I mean, chances of his run defense is terrible, granted, but still. Not over Kareem Hunt. Not even over Gio.
So I have a question here from someone. It says, have you ever co-owned a team and wanted to start one player, but the other owner wanted to start another? How do you decide who starts? Interesting story. We had this last week in the team that we co-own, where I wanted to start Adrian Peterson, and you said, no, we're going to start Benny Snell, and we ended up missing the playoffs because of that. You do remember that, Matt, right?
Yeah. I didn't say, but that's not how the conversation went.
The conversation went, should we pick up Adrian Peterson to start over Benny Snell? And you said, why? Benny Snell's going to be amazing.
No, I didn't say that.
You definitely did.
Benny Snell, if he would have gotten a touchdown, we would have been fine.
If. And the way to do that is you have one person who sets the lineup, and then you might discuss them, but they have basically veto power. We got some more questions coming in here. DeAndre Hopkins, Maclaurin, or Godwin? My goodness.
This is similar. Yeah, this was from the same fellow from last week where he was debating between D-Hop and Maclaurin. Like, you can't really go wrong with any of that.
It's not Godwin. Let's go Hopkins.
Like, yeah, if you're only starting one of those, it's Hopkins. James Bradbury's not that scary.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Cal. Make sure to like and subscribe. Question from Wiki Steamboat here. Does the pride of Miami Springs Senior High School, Eugene Marquis Hilton, stay hot today? I love that we learn something new about T.Y. Hilton every week. I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I mean, define hot. He'll be better than he has been all year. Aside from
He's been hot the last couple weeks.
Yeah. No, I mean, Pittman's still their better receiver for me. I see that you have Hilton higher, but
yeah. Back-to-back weeks with a touchdown and 80-plus yards.
You know, it's a decent matchup for them too. Like Vegas's defense is not good.
It's just one of those things for me that you don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah.
And if it's any of them, I bet it would be him, but it could easily be Pittman. And it could just be that they both just limit each other to like 4 and 60. So it's not a situation that I'm confident in. I'll say he's not going to stay hot every week until I see consistent. He had good target numbers last week, but that was like the first week of the season that he's had that.
Yeah, it's weird. And Rivers is a little beat up too.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on here. Let's get to Devin Singletary, who had 16 carries to 3 for Zach Moss last week. Matt, why do you have him ranked outside the top 35? What is it that you don't like about this guy?
Production, in one word.
He was pretty good last week. That's why I'm surprised he's not higher, and you're still overly high on Moss, who was not productive and hasn't been productive in weeks. Like both of them have been pretty bad all season, but
it's true. They neither of them have been great. Neither of them are in the top 30 for me. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd pick Moss. But I mean, I think all three of us have Singletary higher or Moss higher. No, Mr. Black has Singletary higher.
And I have them one spot beside each other.
It's just a weird situation. I mean, Buffalo has gone games where they've run the ball like 7 or 8 times the entire game. I'm not starting either of them with confidence. Pittsburgh's run defense is still pretty good. Like third best against running backs here. And their pass defense has been suspect, which is surprising. So I think it might be one of those games where they just pass.
Good matchup for Connor on the other side of the ball. Buffalo's run defense has been absolutely terrible. Get to Chad Coleman's question. T. Higgins, Peyton Barber, Judy, or Kirk need 1.5 PPR. Higgins is okay.
Maybe T. Higgins, yeah.
Yeah, Kirk is close. Like again, it's the same situation where I don't think T. Higgins can have a big game. He can maybe have 60 and a touchdown, but Kirk could have 150 and 2.
Yeah. But
T. Higgins is a lot more likely to put up the 10 points than Kirk is. Kirk is as likely to get you like a 2 for 26 per day as well. So
Peyton Barber is a volume guy, hopefully.
No, get out of here, Peyton Barber. It's not going to be a thing.
Well, I don't believe in Mckissick as a runner. That's the thing.
Peyton Barber is not a thing.
All right.
Chad Coleman, Higgins, the obvious choice with the shite QB still. Not obvious, but again,
good choice.
He's just the most consistent choice that's got the highest floor there. Kellen Hollahan says, my starting lineup is Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, James Robinson, Adam Thielen, Stefan Diggs, Gronk, Hopkins, Panthers D. So he just wants to brag about his lineup. Very nice lineup, Kellen Hollahan.
Well,
it's an amazing.
Why he has to bench Maclaurin and Godwin.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what he could have traded for.
It's probably like a 14 league.
A 14 league?
Like, I don't know. How else do you get that?
Kellen, how many players? Well, James Robinson is free.
Right.
He could have got a better tight end.
Yeah.
Stefan Diggs and Adam Thielen were mostly slept on guys in the draft. Stefan Diggs was down. He's like a 5th rounder. So he takes Derrick Henry and Hopkins with his first 2 and he missed the playoffs.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I wonder how that even happened. Like, all those guys have been pretty good all year.
Yeah. Just rough matchups running into other people. Did Diggs miss time?
No.
He traded Hunter Henry. Thielen missed a game or 2, right?
Yeah, Thielen missed with COVID last week.
But McLaurin's been solid all year. Diggs has been solid all year. So, yeah, just rotten luck. Sorry, Kellen.
Robinson, Henry, Allen have all been good.
Matt, let's talk about your 14th favorite player in the AFC, and that's Duke Johnson for the Houston Texans, who you have ranked at 26 this week with David Johnson out. David Johnson, interesting fact, is actually your 15th favorite player in the AFC. So Duke, we just had David there. I have him at 32. And my question is, why do you want to start a running back against Chicago now when you didn't last week when I had Adrian Peterson? You could have picked him up and made the playoffs. Playoffs.
26 is a flex guy. I just thought Snell. You have to drop the Snell thing. Yeah, they don't have any other options. Their Cooks is out. Phil Fuller's out. It's Kiki Cootie and Jordan Akins in the passing game. They're going to be using Duke a lot. He's going to have a lot of volume, and he's going to catch passes. He's a good passer, good receiver.
You know who else is a good receiver? CJ Prosise.
That's nice. So is Michael Thomas.
He scored a touchdown on Thanksgiving. He's there.
He is there. But Duke Johnson is by far their better back out of those two.
But he is playing Chicago, just like Adrian Peterson was last week when you didn't want to start him because you were afraid of the Bears defense.
And Adrian Peterson showed that they can be defeated.
Who is the finest glass of wine in NFL fantasy? Aaron Rodgers.
Devontae Adams.
I think the whole wine ages well thing. So I'm looking for somebody who's been doing it for a long time.
Maybe because Adams is just. I just thought maybe Ben just who's like super consistent every week.
That's what you think the definition of wine is.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I don't drink wine.
I don't drink wine either, but I know that people say like you age wine or whatever. Jay says Cootie, Crowder, Swift, Mike Davis, Marvin Jones, PPR, flex spot. You just need one of these guys?
Well, Crowder, I don't think is playing. Right? Like, we're pretty sure Crowder's not going to play.
I don't know.
Like, it didn't sound good. He didn't practice Friday. He was limited on Thursday.
Is this guy ever going to play?
I not till next year, I would say.
He might be the
that might be
the wrench of the year.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Mike Davis. I think these are all fine options. Crowder, if he's healthy and plays, I think would also be a good option, but he wouldn't be ahead of Mike Davis. Swift is the only one that I would maybe take over Mike Davis, but I'm not confident in his role today. So Mike Davis.
For me, it's not Marvin Jones. It's not Crowder. I don't think it's Cootie, even though I don't mind that. I have Swift higher just because I like his matchup a lot better. But
one thing
there's definitely the worry that he has a limited role. So Mike Davis is the higher floor, I would say, out of those guys.
One thing to note, too, about Kiki Cootie, like last week, he was not the number one guy on the team. Right. Brandon Cooks was getting number one coverage. Now, there's a reason Kiki Cootie hasn't been playing much. It's because he's not that good. But now he's going to face a Chicago defense. Who's their top corner? Kyle Fuller?
Yeah.
So he's going to see him all day because there's no other wide receiver for Kyle Fuller to deal with. So it could be a bust day for Kiki Cootie. But
you don't like Chad Hansen.
He should get a lot of targets. I don't know what you said. Something about Kyle Shanahan?
I said you don't like Chad Hansen.
Chad Hansen. Sorry. Yeah, I do not like Chad Hansen. Panthers D or Ravens D? I don't
know. I would lean Ravens because Carolina's D is bad, but they've got a much better matchup than Baltimore.
I'll go Ravens D. Baker will get picked off 3 times.
Yeah. Okay, go Ravens
Bills D against Steelers or Browns D against Ravens.
Is there another option on free agency?
Yeah, I go Browns just because I think that they can get a turnover more likely than the Bills defense will against the Steelers. Is Swift going to FUQ this week? Dustin Holland asks. I think not. Matt thinks maybe.
Maybe he's not a lock for it because of he may have a limited role. If he has his normal role, yes, he will.
And Ricky Steamboat wants to know: does Swift have a tummy ache? Not sure what he has.
They didn't say. No.
Undisclosed.
It was not COVID. That's all they said.
Yeah. Tater Todd is back. Pick 2 running back and wide receiver, then 1 flex non-PPR. Okay, pick 2 running backs and wide receiver. I don't know if it's 1 or 2, and then 1 flex non-PPR. You got in the running back Swift, Gallman, Carson, Connor. I think that's it.
So it'd be Carson is in there for sure.
Carson, Connor?
Yeah, let's go Carson, Connor.
Wide receiver, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2. So Thomas, Metcalf. I think we don't need to put any more names. It's going to be those 2.
Yeah.
1 flex non-PPR.
So it's basically, is it going to be Thomas or Metcalf, whichever one you're not starting, or Swift or Gallman? And I don't think so.
What about Perryman if he's the only show in town for the Jets?
I'm not starting him over Michael Thomas or DK Metcalf.
No, but I think it says pick 2 RB and wide receivers. So 2 wide receivers would be Thomas and Metcalf, then 1 flex. So would you start Perryman over Swift or Gallman?
I would go Swift.
I'd probably go Gallman.
Yeah, again, it depends on what you think Swift's role is, but I think it's one of those backs over Perryman.
I don't believe Swift has the full role. I don't think that somebody who's been sick all week is going to have that big of a role. And there's no need to rush him out there. Their season is lost.
He's been.
See ya. Kellen, make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. 2 wide receivers as confirmed. So, yeah, it is Thomas and Metcalf at wide receiver. It is Carson and Connor at running back. And then in the flex non-PPR, it's going to be Gallman. Gallman for me, maybe Swift for Matt. Matt, let's talk about Corey Davis at Jacksonville. You have him down at 33. Mr. Black and I have him in the top 25. The man has been a solid fantasy contributor all season. Outside of the 0 week, his low in half PPR is 8.5, and in PPR it's 10. That's his lowest game other than the 0. He's ranked as the 23rd in standard and 26th in PPR, and he's missed 2 games and had a 0. How do you have this man at 33?
Good question. I mean, it's a good matchup. The guys probably just burned me way too often. That's probably really why.
How has he burned you? He's never had less than 8.5 other than the 1 game.
In previous years. Sorry.
In previous years. Oh, so
I was a big Corey Davis guy the last 2 years.
Yeah, I know.
The man.
Especially last year, we both were.
Yeah, and you know what? He's still fine. Like, he's still fine in a flex option at 33. We were just talking about him before the show, and you don't want to start him over some other options, so.
No, but he's right in that mix, though. I thought it was pretty close.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I did say I wanted Debo because Debo's namesake has passed away, and I think Debo's going to be playing an emotional game today, and I think he's going to have a big game for that reason. Let's talk about somebody who I don't think is going to have a big game, and his name is Juju Smith-Schuster. I have ranked at 31. Matt, you have at 23. I'm going to give you some numbers, and just like previous, let me see if you can guess what they are. 28, 37, 19. The last 3 games. What are they?
Those are his receiving yards.
Those are terrible receiving yards.
Yes.
He's been saved by having 10 and 9 receptions the last 2 weeks. The man isn't moving the chains. Why are you passing the ball to him? He's getting 10 receptions for 28 yards. It's bad for a running back.
He's got 94 targets. Like they're gonna keep going to him. That's why, and this is what the argument is with those backs that we're talking about. He's gonna get what, minimum 6 catches. So it's 6 points. Give him another 40 yards is a 10, and maybe a touchdown, 16. Boom.
Ricky Steamboat wants to know, how do we like Tyshawn Raquel Samuel the rest of the season? Is this Curtis Samuel? Does he find the form and stay healthy? He's the pride of Chapman High School in South Carolina.
I'm going to guess that's got to be Curtis Samuel. There's no other Samuel. Unless that's Debo. Is that Debo?
It could be Debo. It is Debo.
Yeah, okay.
I think today is the turning point. I'm just wondering if he can stay healthy. That's my biggest concern. I think he's a great player. I think he's a fantastic talent. And he showed it not last week, the week before. Last week he didn't get involved until later in the game. But I think he's good rest of the season, top 25. You probably aren't starting him if you have some better options, but he could be flexed if one of your guys go down. Like if you have DJ Moore and he's out this week, that's where Debo should be filling in nicely for you. Yeah, especially this week. Start of the week, Debo Samuel.
I think he's going to be around the top 20 for the rest of the year.
Yeah, 20 to 25 in that range. What about Jarvis Landry rest of the season, Matt? You have him ranked 24th today. Mr. Black and I don't like him that much. But it's the matchup for me this week that I don't like. I think he's back to being healthy. I think he wasn't healthy with his core injury, and I think he's turned the corner on that. Why do you like him even against this tough matchup?
He's like the only show there in town, kind of similar with Rashad Perryman, I guess, that OBJ's been gone for a while, but Hooper might be out too, like we said. I think he's just a volume play by 6-7 catches minimum for him. I like it. We could go Landry versus Corey Davis. I guess that's my 24 versus your 24.
I would go Corey Davis because of the comment that just came in.
Well, yeah, he lit up Tennessee. Tennessee's pass defense is terrible, but
yeah, and Baker's terrible.
Yeah, well, he's been.
And you even mentioned the weather aspect, so
there's definitely a little concern there.
Antonio Brown is next on the list. I have him at 26. I've been high on him all season. You have him outside the top 35, as is Mr. Black. He's had solid snap counts. He obviously hasn't produced that much yet. Do you think that as a receiver, he's just not the player he used to be? Or did he just not come in game shape this season? Or is it just because there's so many other players there that are good at what he does, so he doesn't get the volume that he used to get in Pittsburgh or would have gotten in Oakland? They were in Oakland, right?
Yeah, he was in Oakland briefly.
No, the team hadn't moved to Vegas yet, right?
Oh, yeah. No, they had not. No, he's still the 3 target. He's never going to pass Evans and Godwin. So that's a big factor there, I think. I think he's – naturally, if you don't play football for a year and a bit and you go kind of crazy, you're probably just not going to be as good of a player.
Okay.
That's why I just don't trust him as a start if you don't have to.
Who do you want to start here for Ricky Steamboat? Pick 2 of 4: Swift, Hunt, Gio Bernard, and Washington. I'll go with the first 2.
Yeah, first 2 for me. Either format.
So let's talk about Curtis Samuel, not Debo Samuel. I have him at 28. Matt, you have him at 50. Is that a typo? 50?
Yeah, I guess that was prior to DJ Moore being officially ruled out.
DJ Moore was ruled out last week for this game.
No, he was only rolled out maybe Friday or Saturday, and I just forgot.
All right. You don't think Jameson Crowder's playing, so we'll skip him. Let's talk about Marquis Brown, and I don't know what's happened here, but I have him the highest out of everyone, and I think he sucks. He's at 33 for me, back-to-back touchdowns, but more importantly, 8 target games. He's had 4 of those this year and has had either 85-plus yards or a touchdown in those or both. So I'm hoping the volume continues. I'm hoping this is a trend. And they're, why have weapons if you ain't going to use them, or soldiers if you ain't going to use them? Hopefully they're starting to use him. What are your thoughts on him today and going forward? Is this a guy who's going to hop into that flex territory?
I don't think so. I think he's a boomer bust. If you need the big play, obviously go for him. I think Mark Andrews being out last week had a big part to do with him not getting the targets. Trace McSorley the week before that, I think, was just he had that one play where he busted like a 50-yard catch for touchdown in the game where McSorley was in.
But like I said, in games he's had 8 targets, he's had either 85-plus yards or a touchdown or both. So, I mean, that's a decent fantasy day.
Yep.
If they use him, he's going to be good. So, the last 2 games, back-to-back games with 8 targets, I'm hoping the trend continues, and they do it again, and he gets 8 targets, and he keeps doing it. But not somebody I'd be overly confident starting. I would probably start him over Jarvis Landry, though.
That's pretty crazy. Again, it's going to depend on what you need. If you go into Monday night and you need 20 points, for sure, start Marquis Brown. If you need like 8, I'd go Jarvis.
So yeah, if you have Landry and them playing on Monday night, then you can make that decision on Monday. The person with your favorite name has a comment. It's Fist Me Hard Dad 69. They want to know PPR flex Chubb, Godwin, or Deontay. Chubb.
Yeah.
Let's talk KJ Hamler, who's in one of my DFS lineups because he was a good value. I have him at 36 this week. You have him outside the top 70, so not a factor anywhere for you. Put them a bit high. I wouldn't start him over Jarvis Landry or something like that. I have all the Denver wide receivers like back-to-back, similar to what I've done with the Pittsburgh ones. None of them have been great. They've all been just kind of meh. So I'm hoping it's his game today, but
I don't buy it really. I mean, you might get lucky and get a touchdown, but it's not somebody I would even put anywhere near my lineup.
So in his last 4 games, not including the one where they didn't have a quarterback, he has 31 targets and 16 catches. So should be good for a 4 for 50 floor. Judy just 5 targets the last 2 weeks. So I don't know. Like I don't believe in the quarterback, that. So he's somebody. If you're desperate and you haven't frozen off your camera, there you are. You can pluck him in there. What about Russell Gage? Is this over? Is this not a factor anymore?
He's not really a factor anymore. Once Julio goes out, it could be
Zach Rice?
The Z, yeah. That one. Ridley obviously is going to be their top dog there. But yeah, it's just too unpredictable between the other guys.
Question from Fred Penner, musical legend. Will you be enjoying a nice cold Coors this afternoon? I will not.
No, me neither.
No,
I'm surprised that you're not.
That was depressing. I don't have any Coors here.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about tight ends. Robert Tanyan, Matt, you and Mr. Black both have him in the top 7. I am at 12. What am I missing here? Touchdown dependent, decent every week, but why is he so high? Like, why is he ahead of so many other tight ends for you?
He's just been solid. I mean, yeah, you're right. He is a little bit touchdown dependent, but what tight end this year isn't? Aside from Kelsey and Waller. I think that's going to be a really high-scoring game. They're going to put up a ton of points. I think it's very likely that he catches at least 1 touchdown.
You have him over Hunter Henry
and
Mckissick, who's been on a hot streak. Thomas, who had a big game last week. I can understand putting him over Fant. But here's one guy I want to talk about, and that's Evan Ingram. Who's starting at quarterback for the Giants today?
Daniel Jones.
Is he starting today?
Yeah.
It confirmed.
Pretty much confirmed yesterday, yeah.
Okay. Because I've been really worried that with Colt McCoy and his 100 yards, none of the options there were good. So my rankings were based on Colt McCoy starting. I saw that he might play, but he had a hamstring and needed to be checked. So if Colt McCoy plays, can you start any of the Giants?
Gallman.
Other than Gallman?
Not with confidence, no. You cannot.
Would
But
you
I did hear that it was Daniel Jones is pretty well confirmed for that.
If you had the option, if Colt McCoy is playing, and you had the option of any wide receiver or tight end and Alfred Morris, who would you put in the flex? Standard.
Sorry, what was the option there?
Every single pass catcher for the Giants, not combined, pick anyone you want, or Alfred Morris.
I think I would still go like Shepard or Ingram.
Over Alfred Morris?
Over Alfred Morris, yeah. I just double-checked that. Jones is active.
Jones is active, so that's good news. Question for you: who would you start off of my lineup here? I guess the options are Alan Lazard or Gio Bernard or Le'Veon Bell.
Gio.
Gio it is.
That's half point or full point?
All righty, it's half. Let's get to our newest segment on the show, which is called Why Did You Like Benny Snell So Much in Week 13 when the Steelers' run game has been garbage for weeks? Matt, give me the answers.
He's good. He's a good player.
He's not good. He's been terrible. The Steelers haven't been able to run the ball in weeks, and you wanted to start him because of the spot in the playoffs. This is the last day for this, by the way. Well, let's talk about some Dynasty running back free agents, buy and sell. So I'm going to put you on the spot here, Matt. I'm going to name – actually, before we get to that, I wanted to talk about this. Zero running back – the zero RB strategy in drafts. You're aware of what this is?
Yep.
So it's basically you go into the draft and you go wide receiver heavy.
Yeah.
I did it. One of the leagues that I play in turned out great. And here's why it works. We are now in the playoffs, and here are some running backs that are starting: Mike Davis, Gio Bernard, Gallman, McKissick or Barber if you're a crazy person, DeAndre Washington, Devontae Booker, Ty Johnson. I guess he's Crankworth still there. Adrian Peterson was. And Duke Johnson is for David Johnson. A quarter of the league has random backup running backs starting. On top of that, we have guys like James Robinson, who is the starter. We have guys like Antonio Gibson, who was the starter, isn't this week because he's out. But this is why this strategy works. Like, you have Saquon out with the season. And again, you shouldn't avoid drafting those guys, but the zero running back draft strategy is something to really consider because of this. Like, you could just be picking the waiver wire week to week and just like streaming running backs.
It's still not something I like doing, just because I think you're waiting too much on injuries and stuff like that. You could be 0-3, 0-4 before you know it.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you can do if you're picking early. But if you have a later pick, you can go wide receiver heavy, especially if you start 3 wide receivers in the flex.
Yeah, all right.
Because then your first 4 picks, like in the draft that I have, and I'll bring up the league so that I can give you more info if I can find it. There we go. So in the league where I did this, I went Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Kenny Galladay, Amari Cooper. So didn't work out great, but I was able to trade Michael Thomas and Amari Cooper and get myself Zeke. My running back was Kareem Hunt, first guy I picked. Next one was David Montgomery, and then I had J.K. Dobbins, and I just loaded up on running backs after that. None of the other ones hit. But Montgomery's been good. Hunt was good. Both of them been traded off my team, but James Robinson could have been a guy I picked up as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a strategy you can consider. But let's get to the Dynasty running back free agents. So these are running backs that are free agents after this season. And Matt, I want your opinion if it's going to be a buy or a sell or a hold on these guys. And there's a lot of them, so we're just going to go through them really quick. So basically, in 3 weeks, you're going to be able to trade again in Dynasty leagues. And would you be looking to buy these guys before any decision is made on what their future holds? Number 1, Kenyan Drake.
Buy,
sell, or hold?
I wouldn't sell him. His value is too low. I'd be holding him.
Todd Gurley.
Sell.
Tevin Coleman.
I guess buy it would be really cheap.
James White.
Sell. Done.
Leonard Fournette.
Buy.
He's a buy for me too. Le'Veon Bell.
I'd buy him.
You think the price is that low?
I think so.
James Conner.
Sell.
Marlon Mack.
Sell.
I'd buy. It's cheap.
Sell.
Aaron Jones. Now this is the big one.
This is. I'm going to say sell because I don't think they keep him anymore. I used to think they are, but they haven't got it done yet.
Okay, so what are you selling him for?
He should be pretty high.
First?
I'd want more.
You want more than a rookie 2021 first?
Yeah, it's still a top 10 back. Even like say he lands, I don't know, somebody, whoever buys him or whoever signs him is going to need a back and probably going to use him as a running back one. And he's not old; he's got talent, so he's still going to be, running back in the top 20 outside of Green Bay next year, I think. So I would still say he's got some value. He's just I would sell him with the expectation I get a lot for him.
Okay, so if you can get the right value, you would sell him. You don't believe he's coming back to Green Bay. Let's go with some Dynasty wide receivers. Buy or sell. Allen Robinson.
Buy.
AJ Green.
Sell. You can't even get anything tonight. That's just the drop.
T.Y. Hilton, also same boat.
Same thing, yeah.
Sammy Watkins.
So.
Corey Davis. That's a big buy candidate here.
Buy. But his price is going to be high, but buy.
What would you give up for him? An early second?
Yeah.
Not a first?
No.
Brashad Perryman.
So.
John Ross.
I would buy just to see what happens.
Yeah, I would buy as well. The price is going to be low. There's no way you're paying more than a third for him, if that. Yeah. You could probably maybe get him for a fourth. Will Fuller. That's an interesting one. What's the price? And would you buy him or sell him?
I think he's going to be good wherever he goes. Although I'm curious and concerned about his PEDs keeping him healthy this year too. I would hold him.
Hold. Okay, first hold. Antonio Brown.
I would buy that, I think.
I think it's a buy because the price is going to be lower. He's not having the best season. And if he goes somewhere else, he could have a better season. Mm-hmm. Interesting one here, Curtis Samuel.
I guess I would buy it. Like, I don't see a point in selling him. But
I see a point in selling because he's probably going to have a good stretch to end the season with Moore out, and depending on how long Moore's out for. So I would sell him before he went to another team because I think he's going to go. The only thing I have a makeshift role. I don't want him on my team. So if I could ever sell high on him, that'd be the one. Here's a very interesting one, Juju. So Juju's contract is up with the Steelers. He could get renewed with the Steelers. He could go somewhere else. His value isn't as high as it used to be. Not as high as it was coming into the season or even going into the last season. It's been steadily declining. Can you get it done if there's not really an on the other side of him?
That's somebody I would hold because I want to see where he ends up. If he's the clear number one somewhere, then I don't think I like it.
What price would you pay for him, and what price would you let him go for? Is he worth a first? Like, would you pay a first for him?
If I got a first for him, I would let him go.
Okay. And if you paid an early second for him? Okay. Early second?
Yeah, I would think so. Like, if he stays in Pittsburgh, he'll be still a startable wide receiver. Most places like I said, my concern is he goes somewhere like
Chicago.
Say Chicago and Robinson leaves and he has to be the guy, then he's going to be bad.
Yeah. And that's a bad offense. If he goes there and Robinson stays, that's a good offense, and I like that spot. Chris Godwin. I don't think he goes anywhere, right?
No, he stays.
So to me, he's a hold.
Yeah.
Because Brown will be gone, and so Kenny Golladay.
Buy Kenny Golladay.
Buy Kenny Golladay. No matter where he goes, he's going to be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, as long as his hip or whatever has been.
To me, his value isn't diminished by anything. Like, there's no way he's going to go to a team that's going to pay him that type of money that isn't going to use him. So some of these guys are bulletproof. Here's one that's really interesting, and that's Allen Lazard. So Allen Lazard, price probably not the highest right now, and they're not going to give him that much to do, apparently. Not going to give him 60 snaps, as per the coach. So his value is probably not going to skyrocket up too much. What would you do with him?
I would hold because he's probably going to stay in Green Bay, I would say. I just don't see – like, if he leaves, I think his value goes way down.
If he leaves?
Yeah. Like, I just – like, he's – Like Rodgers probably makes him look better than he actually is, which he does to a lot of players.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just finish up with the tight ends here. I'm just setting my horrible lineup so that I can lose in our Dynasty League. I'm keeping Patrick Mahomes in because I don't want to make it too obvious. Who's worse, DJ Chark or Amari Cooper this week?
Who's worse?
Who's worse? I want who's worse.
Chark is worse.
You know what? I'm just going to start Darwin Thompson. I don't even know if he's active, but that's the lineup. Let's take a look at the matchup now. Yeah, you're going to lose by 70. Hunter Henry.
I'd like to know more of the public opinion on him. I'd probably buy him, but
I would buy him too. I think the talent is there. I think he's just been in a situation where I don't know. There's just a lot of other talent around him. So I think he goes to a good situation. I don't think that his wherever he goes is going to be affected unless he goes to like Minnesota or Cleveland, teams that like to use 2 tight end sets, so he gets less time. Or even I don't know why he'd go to Miami, but Gronk's too old.
Sorry,
Gronk's too old to even worry about.
Buy.
No,
buy out. No interest.
What about Jared Cook? Any interest in buying, selling, or holding him?
Well, I sold him for not very much, but I just don't think he's going to be good, so that's it for him.
Okay. Trey Burton, Mo Alley Cox. Do you think either of them have the talent to do it? I don't think Burton does, but I'd be more willing to buy Mo Alley Cox just because he hasn't gotten a fair shot to do it yet. But I wouldn't be paying it'd be a late third at most.
Yeah, it wouldn't be much.
It might even be a fourth.
Take a flyer on him if you want.
Dan Arnold?
Same scenario kind of thing.
Yeah, just a flyer.
Yeah.
Last thing, why in the world did you think Benny Snell was better than AP last week? Follow up, were you drunk? Answer the question, Matt. People want to know.
Well, Benny Snell is a better player.
Wow. Strong words. And Matt, start sit. You have any start sit questions? Hopefully you're sitting Benny Snell this week.
I am sitting Benny Snell, and we had that wide receivers Devontae Parker versus Corey Davis versus Jarvis Landry in our league.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning Corey Davis now.
Well, that's got to be a fast switch. Do you have it open?
No, I do not. But let's just leave it. It's fine.
That's a big game.
Well, I can blame you if we lose in the playoffs. That's all I got for today. I'm surprised we got through all of that Dynasty stuff. I didn't think we were able to get to it with all the matchups that we had. Matt, game you're most excited to see today? There are 7 in the early slate and 6 in the afternoon. That's a lot of games in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's
Question,
good.
Alessandra De Stefano says, should I start Beasley, Parker, or Ayuk full PPR? Is it Beasley or Parker, Matt? I think full PPR is probably Beasley.
Yeah, it's Beasley. I think that's just
Beasley, the Beast Beasley. Thanks for the question, Alessandro. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Matt, game you're most excited for today?
Let's go. Maybe Bucks and Vikings.
Yep, that's what I was going to say. I had a dream that the Bucks lost to the Vikings, so that's not good.
I hope not.
Also, the Chiefs-Dolphins game should be pretty interesting because of the quarterback to watch. Yeah, other than that, I mean, none of the other games are, other than Steelers-Bills tonight. Colts-Raiders should be a pretty good tilt since they both have a lot to play with. They're basically playing to see who can get into the playoffs there.
A little interested to see what Jalen Hurts does.
Yeah. Interesting. Against the Saints?
Yeah.
I'm going to say he does not much in terms of winning, but does a fair bit in terms of fantasy.
Well, our lineup is set. We can't change it anyway. It's past noon.
And my lineup is set with AJ Green, Scotty Miller, Drew Sample, and Darwin Thompson, and David Njoku on Monday nights.
Actually, it says I can still change it. Do you want to go Davis?
No.
Over Parker?
No. That's going to wrap it up.
Okay.